Then, it happened. A faint splash, barely audible, broke the stillness. The air hung heavy and still as we approached the Terran Lake Resort. A silence so profound it hummed, pressing in on our ears. This was a silence born not of peace, but of absence. The absence of life, of laughter, of the joyous energy a place like this once held.
Weathered signs bleached by the sun still promised luxury family fun. Now they were nothing more than cruel reminders of what once was. Vines like skeletal fingers clawed their way up the sides of buildings. Windows, once bright and inviting, were now vacant eyes staring out at us.
This was a place where happiness went to die. The Terran Lake Resort was once a beacon of joy, a place where families created memories to last a lifetime. Now, it stood as a monument to decay, a decaying testament to the relentless march of time.
A shiver ran down my spine, a primal warning that we were crossing a threshold, entering a place where the veil between our world and the next was thin. The air grew colder, the silence deeper, as if the resort itself was holding its breath, watching our every move.
We were not welcome here. We were intruders in a domain claimed by something other than the living. The silence was unsettling. It wasn't the peaceful quiet of a forest glade or a deserted beach. This was the silence of expectation, of something lurking just beyond the range of our senses.
The hair on the back of my neck prickled with a mixture of fear and excitement. This was it. This was where the real investigation began. The Terran Lake Resort was about to give up its secrets. We just had to be brave enough to listen.
We stepped cautiously onto the cracked asphalt of the parking lot, each footstep echoing unnaturally loud in the stillness. Weeds sprouted between the cracks, reclaiming the space for nature. A rusted swing set swayed gently in the breeze, its vacant seats a haunting reminder of the children who once played here.
This was a place frozen in time, a snapshot of a moment long gone. But what had happened here? What events transpired to transform this haven of joy into a desolate wasteland? We were here to find out.
I couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia, imagining the laughter that once filled this space. Next, we ventured into the dining hall. Empty tables and chairs stood as silent witnesses to countless family meals. Dust covered every surface, a testament to the years of neglect. The dining hall, once filled with the clatter of dishes and the hum of conversation, now echoed with silence. We moved through the space, each step stirring up memories of a time long past. Our hearts were heavy with the weight of history, but also light with the thrill of discovery. The Terran Lake Resort had many secrets to reveal, and we were determined to uncover them all. The once grand entrance to the Terran Lake Resort now gaped open, like a toothless maw. The double doors, once gleaming mahogany, were now splintered and rotten, hanging precariously from their frames. A musty smell, the stench of decay and neglect, hit our nostrils as we crossed the threshold.
It was the smell of time itself, slowly digesting the remnants of what once was. The lobby, once a symphony of light and color, was now shrouded in an oppressive gloom. Dust motes danced in the faint rays of sunlight that pierced the boarded-up windows. Cobwebs, thick as gauze, draped everything, a testament to the years of abandonment.
But something wasn't right. Amidst the decay and desolation, there were signs of recent activity. A half-empty can of soda sat on a dusty coffee table, its condensation leaving a ring on the grime. A cigarette butt, still smoldering, lay crushed on the floor.
Someone had been here, recently. The realization sent a chill down my spine. We weren't alone. The air, thick with the silence of ages, seemed to crackle with a new energy. We were being watched, observed by unseen eyes.
My hand instinctively went to the EMF reader on my belt, its reassuring weight grounding me. On the wall behind the reception desk, someone had scrawled a message in what appeared to be charcoal. It was a single word, stark and chilling in its simplicity: leave.
A warning or a plea, whatever its intent, the message was clear. We were treading on dangerous ground. The presence here, whatever it was, didn't want us here. But we were too far in now. Curiosity, that double-edged sword, had us firmly in its grip. We had to know more.
As we ventured further into the lobby, the feeling of unease intensified. The air grew heavy, making it difficult to breathe. A low hum, barely audible, seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. It was the sound of something ancient and powerful, something not of this world.
The resort was awake now, its slumber disturbed by our presence, and it was watching us. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind through the broken windows seemed to whisper a warning. But we pressed on, driven by the insatiable need to understand the mysteries hidden within the decaying walls of the Terran Lake Resort.
As we moved deeper into the resort, the air grew colder, a biting chill that seemed to seep into our very bones. We followed the dim light to a pair of double doors, their once ornate glass now cracked and fogged with age. Pushing them open, we were greeted by a sight that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. The indoor pool. The pool area, like the rest of the resort, had fallen into ruin. The tiles around the edges were cracked and missing. The pool was dry, barren like the rest of the resort. Yet there was something oddly captivating about the scene. Despite being empty, the pool cast eerie waving reflections on the ceiling, creating a dance of shadows that seemed almost alive. We stepped closer, the sound of our footsteps echoing unnaturally in the large, empty space. The air was thick with humidity and the faint smell of chlorine, a ghostly reminder of the pool's former glory. As we approached the edge, an unsettling silence fell over us. It was as if the room itself was holding its breath, waiting. Then, it happened. A faint splash, barely audible, broke the stillness. We froze, eyes scanning the lifeless parched pit for any sign of movement. We heard water ripple gently where there was none. We could see no source for the sound. My heart pounded in my chest as we strained to listen, every nerve on edge. Suddenly, another splash, louder this time. And then, we saw it. A shadow, moving as if swimming through the water, darting from one end of the pool to the other. It moved with an unnatural speed, leaving a trail of disturbed dust in its wake. We exchanged glances, fear and curiosity warring within us. The EMF reader on my belt began to spike, its lights flashing erratically. Whatever was here, it wasn't human. The temperature seemed to drop even further, our breath visible in the cold air. Another splash, and this time, the shadow seemed to rise, just enough for us to catch a glimpse of something pale and ghostly before it vanished again. Then, the noises started. Low, guttural sounds, like whispers from the depths of the pool. They grew louder, more insistent, filling the room with an eerie cacophony. It was as if the water itself was speaking, telling us to leave. We took a step back, our resolve wavering. The feeling of being watched was stronger than ever, an oppressive weight that made it hard to think. But we couldn't leave. Not yet. There was something here, something that needed to be understood. As we stood at the edge of the pool, the shadows continued their dance, the whispers growing louder. The Terran Lake Resort had revealed another of its secrets, and it was more terrifying than we had ever imagined. Suddenly, the shadows seemed to leap from the water at us, and we frantically ran for our lives, blindly running with no idea where we were going. Leaving the haunted pool behind, we ventured further into the heart of the Terran Lake Resort. Our footsteps echoed through the empty corridors, each creak and groan of the old building amplifying the sense of isolation. Finally, we arrived at the resort's grand dining hall, a place that must have once been filled with laughter and the clinking of silverware. Now, it was a scene of utter desolation. The long tables, once set for lavish banquets, lay covered in a thick layer of dust. Overturned chairs were scattered haphazardly, as if abandoned in a hurry. Broken chandeliers hung from the ceiling, their crystals casting fractured light across the room. As we moved deeper into the hall, we noticed old menus lying on the tables, their pages yellowed and brittle with age. The dishes listed were a haunting reminder of the luxury that once graced this now forsaken place. Plates with remnants of meals, long since turned to dust, added to the eerie atmosphere, each one a silent testament to the abrupt end of the resort's glory days. The air was heavy with the scent of decay, mingling with the faint aroma of stale food. It was as if the dining hall itself was holding onto the memories of those who once dined here, their presence lingering in the shadows. We picked up one of the menus, the paper crumbling slightly under our touch. The elegant script listed dishes like roast duck à l'orange and crème brûlée, luxuries now reduced to mere echoes of the past. As we stood in the center of the room, the silence was broken by the faint sound of cutlery clinking. It was so soft, so distant, that we almost thought we had imagined it. But then it came again, clearer this time, as if the ghosts of the past were still enjoying their meals. A sudden cold breeze swept through the hall, rustling the menus and sending a shiver down our spines. The EMF reader began to spike again, the lights flickering erratically. We exchanged uneasy glances, knowing that we were not alone. The dining hall, with its eerie remnants of meals and ghostly echoes, had revealed yet another layer of the resort's haunted past. The Terran Lake Resort was not just a place of decay. It was a place where the past refused to die, where one layer of time sat atop a gauze separation of another that bled through, waiting to be uncovered. We had to keep moving, to continue unraveling the mysteries of this forsaken place. The truth was out there, buried beneath layers of dust and time, and we were determined to find it. As we left the abandoned dining hall behind, the air seemed to grow heavier with each step we took. The Terran Lake Resort had revealed many of its secrets, but the most unsettling question remained. What had caused its sudden abandonment? We gathered outside. We were badly shaken. The eerie silence hung over us as we sat down to discuss our findings.
Everywhere we've been, there's this overwhelming sense of abruptness. It's like one day this was a place filled with life and the next it wasn't. But someone forgot to tell the ones who linger the distant sounds of life. It's as if the resort's history is trapped in a loop, replaying over and over.
We theorized about the possible causes. Could it have been a catastrophic event? A natural disaster? Or perhaps something more sinister? Something that left the guests and staff no choice but to flee immediately.
Whatever it was, it left a mark on this place. A mark that's still very much alive.
We reflected on the haunted pool, the desolate dining hall, the eerie echoes of life that seemed to cling to every corner of the resort. The Terran Lake Resort was a place where the past refused to die, where memories lingered like shadows, waiting to be uncovered.
It's almost like the resort itself doesn't want to let go, like it's holding on to the essence of everyone who ever stayed here.
As we talked, suddenly there was an inhuman scream in the distance, and it was getting closer. Fast. The scream seemed to be running toward us. No one had to say anything. Again, we were like hunted animals fleeing in panic from our pursuer, not knowing which way to run. We finally couldn't run anymore. We had reached the entrance gate. We left the resort with a heavy heart, knowing that its mysteries would continue to haunt us. The Terran Lake Resort was not just a place of decay. It was a place of memories that didn't want to let go or die. A place where the past refused to fade away. And as we drove away, the silhouette of the resort against the setting sun seemed to whisper a final, chilling farewell.